not many of you should become teachers, my brothers. For you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness. For we all stumble in many ways. And if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle his whole body. If we put bits into the mouths of horses so that they obey us, we guide their whole bodies as well. Look at the ships also. Though they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are guided by a very small rudder wherever the will of the pilot directs. So also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. And the tongue is a fire, a world of unrighteousness. The tongue is set among our members, staining the whole body, setting on fire the entire course of life, and set on fire by hell.
Real quick, Sarah, when we put these videos in the settings, it automatically puts it on repeat. So we have to put it, okay, just let you know. God forbid we're stuck in a countdown forever. Oh, by the way, tailgate buffet. Does that not sound awesome? Tailgate buffet? Because I thought of it this week. So it's got to be all. So I'm thinking for our trunk or treat, we don't really want to do like trunk or treat and get lost in all the trunk or treats. We'll do tailgate buffet. And we'll designate a parking spot. You're going to have to register your car and all that. And we'll give you a parking spot or 2 or 12, whatever you need, whatever we have out there. And you've got to cook your meal in your parking spot. Decorate your car, do whatever you want to your car. And then the buffet is, well, if you want to tailgate a trunk, a hood, a door, whatever it is, serve from your parking spot. Tailgate buffet. We'll get more info on that. As I got to think about it, figure out how to work it out. So, I thought that was pretty clever of me. See if it works out. I do a lot of my thinking on a mower. I don't mow too much anymore, but I remember my first time on a mower. I got my first job, my first real job, when I was about 16. And it was with a landscape company, and I was the edger boy. You graduate from edger boy to weed eater boy to the blower boy to pick up sticks boy to maybe you get on the mower. I remember the first time on the mower. So excited. It was a big old 60-inch X-Mark with a 29-horse Kohler on the back, and it sounded like a tank, man. I was $130 at the time, and sock pulled up to the knees, skinny as can be. And I'm sitting on this mower out in the field. My boss, you could see, he's a little nervous. And he goes, all right, just go forward. And you sit on the hydraulics. See, if you're new to a mower, a commercial mower, you got to get used to the response time on the hydraulics, how it reacts and all that. So you put someone in the middle of a field where they can't do too much damage. But this mower could have mulched me up. If I got tossed off it and it ran me over, man, I would have been mulched up, blended in with the cypress mulch. You would never know. So I'm on it, and he goes, all right, just creep forward. You know, well, creep, in my mind, is full jam forward, just... And then the opposite reaction, brake, and you go forward and back. You're kind of stuck in this motion and trying to get the mower under control. All right, and finally slow down, just breathe. He goes, all right, go right, which push right. Gently, go right, Greg. And I'm once again full bore, and I get caught in this death circle. And then he's like, go left, go left. And you overreact, and you go in the other death circle. And I'm out in this field and just doing donuts. I'm out of control. Oh! I got off that mower and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I'm a nervous wreck, freaked out. But my boss was lenient. He was patient. We'll do this again in about 4 weeks. He had to breathe. I had to breathe. I had to be trained on the mower. Today, I can be eating an apple, talking on a cell phone, blindfolded, sitting backwards and mow a yard better than you can. Because I've been trained on the mower. I would be what you call, see, I'm bragging. Gotta brag about something, I guess. We all are experts at something. I'm an expert at cutting grass. There's a lot of pride in that. It's so much so, I've gotten people to do it for me. You know you're good at something, we can just delegate it and just watch it be done. Like, man, that's really good. This is what James is getting at, right? Not cutting grass. You have to be trained to use this body, or it will destroy you. You have to be trained to use this body to control the tongue, or it will destroy your life and the lives of others. But James 3, let me reiterate, is not about taming the tongue. It's about teachers and who should teach, and the leniency of God by saying, if your tongue is out of control, destroying people with the fires of hell, it's all right not to teach. Just back off. I got this under control. Look through James 3. I encourage you, if you're new, and see if there's a single command to tame your tongue. In fact, James says it's impossible, verse 8, to tame your tongue. We have to train. We have to go through training and train our bodies. I got a question. So, is it possible to tame your tongue? Is it possible to tame your tongue? We have to mince words today because James says, no, it's not. And James says, yes, it is. He says in verse 8 very clearly, no human being can tame the tongue. In verse 2, he says, a perfect man doesn't stumble in what he says. It's kind of weird. Almost as if James, is kind of like writing two different books here. But what you'll learn is he's giving you the gospel. In fact, he kind of assumes you know the gospel. But we're slowing down to see the gospel in these words. Because you have to be trained. Your body has to be brought under control by a perfect man. Verse 2, James 3, verse 2, we all stumble in many ways. And if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle his whole body. How does that verse make you feel? How does it make you feel? Okay, so first off, let's just dissect this real quick. We all stumble in many ways. Thank God James is in that category. All right, it's like he gets me. But if you don't stumble, you're a perfect man. Okay, so I don't know if you see this. I feel like James one night he's writing this book and he's thinking to himself, man, that's a good Facebook quote right there. We all stumble in many ways. He says, period on it, I'm going to bed. He's laying in bed and he thinks, man, there's that one person, I've never heard that person say anything negative out of their mouth. They only bless people. It's like maybe there's perfect people out there. And it's like then he wakes up in the morning, wipes the sleep out of his eyes, and he's got that thought, and he Folgers in the cup. Back to writing. And if you don't stumble, but he just wrote, we all stumble. He's like, he should have crossed that out. If you don't stumble, you're a perfect man, able to bridle the whole body. These two sentences don't go together. Wait, we all stumble? Who's the perfect man that doesn't stumble? Well, he's talking about us. He almost seems to contradict each other. This word stumble, though, what's that song, I'll Stumble For You? I'll Stumble For You. It's an 80s song. I won't even try. What do you think when you hear the word stumble? Fall.
Trip.
So, I have a concern that you may think that stumbling is something you can prevent. Be careful, little ears, what you hear. The Father up above is looking down below, so be careful, little ears, what you hear. Careful, little eyes, what you see. But hold on. Do I have any control of my eyes see? Because you may walk into the picture and not be wearing much and catch me off guard. What if my ears, can I shut them off? But we all stumble in many ways. You see, I was at Home Depot one week getting mulch, and they have this mulch lane that you're supposed to pull in, but if you have a trailer, you can't pull into it. So I pull it next to it. But to designate the mulch lane, they have a 5-gallon bucket, a 6-inch 4x4, and a 2x4. It's all about knee height, and you can't see it. And I get out of my truck, I walk around the truck to go get the mulch, and I just fell on my face. It hurt so bad. From across the parking lot, you could see this guy just, eat it. You know what came to my mind when I got up and looking at the blood and thinking, man, I think I broke my arm. I mean, it hurt so bad. I said, man, I'm really glad I stumbled. That was exactly what I wanted to do today, was stumble. No, that's not what you think. You look around and it's like, what just happened? I mean, something just caught me off guard. And did anybody see that? You know, you don't wake up thinking, what would I like to do today? I'd like to go to Walmart and walk the jelly aisle and trip and take out the whole aisle. It's not on your to-do list. When you stumble, it tends to be on accident. The word slip is a replacement for stumble that maybe identifies a little bit better what James is getting at. We all slip up. We all slip up. Just nothing you do about it. We all do it. It's wired into our human beingness. We all slip. But if you don't slip, you've perfected walking. You've perfected walking if you don't slip. If you don't stumble, somebody's taught you how to walk perfectly. It's possible. It's possible. Back to verse 2. Watch these words. I gotta split some words apart here, guys, because if you can see this, you will come to see God is doing something in you that is, it's beyond your ability to do in and of yourself. Watch these words very close. If you got a Bible, open it up and highlight them. We all stumble in many ways. If anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man. Perfect man. Underline that. He is a perfect man if he does not stumble. It sounds achievable. It doesn't sound like he's talking about Jesus out there. It sounds like he's talking about you in this room. You're also able to bridle your whole body. Bridle is a word we have to look at too. But verse 8, look at verse 8. No human being can tame the tongue. Let's flip back to verse 2. If anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man. Verse 8. No human being can tame the tongue. The same guy wrote both verses. What is he getting at? Perfect man does not stumble in what he says. He's able to bridle the whole body. The word bridle and the word tame is also telling. No human being can tame the tongue. To bridle is to self-control. It's to bring under control. You see the word tame, though, we get that feeling that tame means that. But tame means to overpower. No human being can overpower the tongue. But a perfect man can bring it under control. I got a picture here. Well, before I get to it, the word man in Greek has an emphasis on maturity, adulthood. When you put the word perfect in front of it, perfect as in how James uses it, complete, matured, James is really showing you that in your most matured state, you're considered perfect. You are able to bring your tongue under control. You are able to control the whole body. The word human being, anthropos in Greek, has a specific emphasis on your weakness, your sinfulness. So you split this hair right down the middle and you see verse 2, James is talking about the matured, new nature, Christ in you person. Verse 8, the human being, he is talking about your old nature that is corrupt, is weak, it's sinful. No sinful person can overpower the tongue. But a perfect man, the man being developed within you, the perfect woman, doesn't stumble in anything they say. They're able to also bridle the whole body. I got a picture here to help you see it. Human being, kind of like the guy on the left, he thinks he's strong, he thinks he can do it, he thinks he can lift the weight until the weight is applied. And he falls under the pressure. But the guy on the right, the perfect man, I don't know if there's anything else to say. Which one do you want to be? So now we got these, so that's kind of the idea. The perfect man, he's been trained, he's been developed, he's been matured. He can subdue the whole body. The human being, the weakling, and us all, you're looking at it. He's sinful. He doesn't have the ability to. He doesn't have the ability to obey. He doesn't have the ability to control the tongue. No, the other side of you, the Christ in you, the born again part, the seed of the Father within you, is what is being brought up and matured into this perfect man. But let's use some illustrations from James, okay? Verse 3, if we put bits into the mouths of horses so that they obey us, we guide their whole body as well. Watch the flow of these illustrations. He doesn't miss a beat. What do we got? We have a bit, we have a horse, and we have a jockey. Okay? And the goal is to obey. All right, that's what we got. So you've got a jockey on a horse, and the jockey, there's a couple things about this jockey that's of importance. One, the jockey guides this horse to a destination. Jump the hurdle, let's head to the stall, let's win the race, let's get to the finish line. The jockey has a destination for the horse and gets the horse there. A jockey loves the horse. I've never seen a fat jockey because there would be too much burden on that horse. Too much weight on the horse would slow the horse down, would burden the horse too much. So a jockey has to be petite, small, lightweight for the horse to perform its best. The jockey loves the horse, takes care of the horse, feeds the horse, nurtures the horse. The jockey's trained. The jockey has been trained to bring that horse under control. Now that horse could stomp that jockey to death in an instant. If you put the horse and the jockey on a tug-of-war match, who's going to win? The horse. See, in James' words, the jockey can't tame the horse. But see, our English for tame is kind of mixed up. It should say overpower the horse. A jockey cannot outmuscle a horse, but he can bridle it. He can control it. Let's talk about ships. Look at the ships. Exact same illustration. Let's use different stuff. Though they are so large and driven by strong winds, they are guided by a very small rudder, wherever the will of the pilot directs. All right, so here we go. We got a pilot, a captain, I guess you would call him, like the skipper, right? Gilligan's Island, the captain. What does he do? Well, the captain, the pilot, guides the ship to a destination. You ever been to the port, the Canaveral, and watch those big ships come in, guys, and they get that ship within inches of where they want that ship to be? Incredible. Pilot, the captain, guides that ship regardless of the winds and whatnot exactly where he wants it to go. No pilot, that ship will be out of control. The pilot, the captain, loves his ship. Never seen a captain take a drill to the bottom of the boat. It's just not a good idea, and he knows it. No, but he waxes it. He doesn't overload it with too much people, too much luggage. He loves his boat. He takes very good care of his boat. And the captain's trained. The pilot is trained to drive his boat. Now, look, if you put the captain on one end and a Disney cruise liner on the other end and a tug-of-war rope in between, who's going to win? The boat will overpower the captain every time, but the captain can bring the boat under control. This word tame in our English really kind of messes with what James is getting at. I think the word overpower works better. No human being can overpower the tongue, but we can bridle the tongue. The perfect man can bridle the tongue. Verse 5, let's talk about you. So also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. There's a man. That's a man. By the way, a horse cannot control its own bit. A ship cannot control its own rudder. And no human being can tame its own tongue. You know what a human also cannot do? You cannot determine his destiny. You have no dictation on where you end up tomorrow, or if you walk out of here today. You can't determine your destiny. Your destination is in the hands of God. There's nothing you do in this moment that will change what happens tomorrow. Now, you got plans. You have plans. But the Lord establishes every step you take. You know, you also cannot fulfill your need for love. You were stamped in a mold that was shaped like the image of God. with love at the center. And you were pulled out of that mold, and love was left behind. And now you've got a love-shaped hole inside of you. You can't fill that. You need love himself to fill that. You need to be restored to the image you were intended to be created in. And God's doing it. He's working in you, and he's fulfilling this. And by the way, you come into the world butt naked. You are dependent fully on everyone, or you die. You have to be taught to speak. You have to be fed. And, give it some time and some instincts will kick in. But I'll tell you, Connor, my boy, would be dead in a heartbeat if we just let him go. You can't train yourself. You need someone to help you. You got a horse, you got a bit, you got a jockey, you got a ship, you've got a rudder, you got a pilot, you got a human, you got a tongue, and the world's on fire. From the fires of hell, according to verse 6. Lives are being destroyed. Poison, deadly poison spilled out. Curses to people who are made in the image of God. Unless that blank is filled with a perfect man, then you have a controlled human being. You have a controlled tongue. Let's talk about what God can do. God guides you. God determines your destiny. Man, you can't really use the word destiny in a sermon and not feel like you're going way off in the deep end. I understand that, but I'm going to use it. God determines your destiny. He determines where you'll be at tomorrow. You'll be in his presence fully, or you'll still be here. Commit your works, Proverbs 16 says. Commit your works to the Lord. Your plans will be established. In other words, you give them to God, you trust in God, he will establish your plans. You won't establish them. He'll make sure they come to fruition. Verse 9 of the same chapter, chapter 16, Proverbs 16. The heart of a man plans his way. The Lord establishes his steps. The Lord is guiding you. You have plans, but he's guiding you. And he's using every detail of your life to bring you along, to fulfill a purpose, a mission, his will, his plan, his destination for you. And ultimately, you're going to end up face to face in a new home. That's the ultimate destination, and you will get there. You will get there. So God guides you, and he loves you. Man, I know, you hear this every week probably. 1 John 4:9, and the love of God was made manifest among you. That God sent his only Son into the world so that you might live through him. See, perfect man living through you. Matthew 11, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden. Jesus says, I'll give you rest. I know how to be gentle with you. Take my yoke upon you. Learn from me. I am gentle and lowly in heart. You will find rest for your souls. I know exactly what you can handle, exactly what you can't. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. He loves you. God loves you. God, he guides you. He loves you. And this is the best part, man. This is where James is hammering. He trains you. He trains you. And guys, this is just the icing on the cake. Being here right now is just the icing on the cake. Your training happens out there. And it happens in a manner that you probably would wish it didn't. But if you can see God at work, guys, those inches of trusting in the Lord, getting closer and closer, will turn into feet and miles quicker than you know it. You will begin to see every red light as God's hand upon your life guiding you. You'll be able to see that every disease, every illness, every financial setback in poverty or in richness, that God is at work. For the moment, all discipline, Hebrews 12, he's talking about God disciplines those whom he loves. Seems painful rather than pleasant. But later, it yields peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. The training of God seems painful. Seems painful. Seems painful? I'm telling you, man, my back is on fire right now. And he says, that seems painful? Well, yes, this ain't my life. My life is, James 3 says that God yearns. He yearns for the spirit that he made to live in you. That's my life. That's your life. It just seems painful right now. But this ain't where my life is. It's not where your life is. But later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness. I mean, it's kind of the goal of all this. A stress-free life. That would be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? And it's possible for the perfect man. The man let's use it this way, the man who's been perfected. See, that's swallowable, but the perfect man, that's hard to swallow. The man or the woman who's been perfected. Verse 2, count it all joy. James chapter 1, verse 2. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. Let's talk about that discipline. Because you know that the testing of your faith, it's producing something. Steadfastness. Let it work out. Let it happen. Let steadfastness have its full effect. Let God have his full effect upon you. That you may be perfected, perfect, and complete, and lacking in nothing. Let God work this out in you through your trials, through your pain, through your affliction. He is training you. You are in the training grounds. You are being trained. And if you lack wisdom, let him ask God. He will give it to you without reproach. Your trainer is standing by, ready to give you everything you need in the moment of your trial. It will be given to you. In verse 17 of chapter 3, watch this. The wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. And the result of the training, a harvest of righteousness, is sown in peace by those who make peace. You become a peacemaker, a peace generator. You become the source of peace for those around you. A harvest of righteousness. So, just real quick, why is this so hard in your pain? Here's what I'm tempted to do. I would say you're probably tempted to do, but I'll just point the finger at me. But no, I'm really pointing it at you, and this is my subtle way of saying you do this, but I don't want to burden you too much. Why do I blame people for my pain? Why, when you do something that causes me pain, am I so mad at you? Why, when the person T-bones my car, why do I blame them? Why, when that red light comes and I really needed that green light because now I'm 5 minutes late to that job interview that I needed, why is it the county's fault? Because they haven't timed their lights just right. Why do we blame each other? You see, the human being is trying to overpower something it can't overpower. But if you come to see God, you are in the training ground. God is training you in those moments. And you open yourself up to, just open your mind up to this idea. Man, God's teaching me to trust him right now. It's out of my control. Do what you need. I'm going to do my best to stay calm. But I will not curse those around me. I will not blame shift. See what happens. Watch what develops in you. Watch your mindset at the next red light, the next disease, the next financial issue. Watch what takes place. Your mind will naturally begin to go, this is of God. So I'm all right, even though it's not pleasant. Therefore, in all things, trust in the Lord. It's the application of every sermon. Trust in the Lord. The goal? A no-stress life. I don't know, man. Maybe it's not it's attainable. You can get there. But, see, I know some of you need this in biblical terms, so I put it very small in biblical terms because you get used to hearing it in biblical terms and it just kind of has a washout effect. It just doesn't affect you anymore. The goal is love in the midst of hatred. The goal is joy in the midst of a trial. The goal is peace in the midst of chaos. The goal is patience with your enemies. The goal is gentleness with those who are harsh with you. The goal is kindness, no matter the situation. And the goal is self-control all the time. Sounds like a stress-free life to me. This is what James is aiming at. He's talking about you here and now. Somebody's at work training you. You are in the training grounds. And one day you'll be brought home. The glory that has been at work in you will be completely revealed. And it will be incredible. In the meantime, it may not be pleasant, but your God is at work to perfect you. So you can one day bring this guy under control. Bring this woman under control. Bring this tongue under control so that it curses no more. It hates no more. It's jealous no more. The only way to get there is through pain. The only way to get there is through suffering. I know you don't want it. I don't want it. But these bodies, they're gonna fall apart. They're destined to die. So let's see the diamond in them. That as it's falling apart, as it's being peeled back more and more, I see the glory of my Father in me. The more I see the imprint of his Son, the infusion of his Spirit into my spirit. And then you'll begin to see God's pretty lenient with you. You might be out there jerking that mower around, tearing up yards, mulching up bunnies, and all sorts of stuff happens. You know, these little bunnies will pop their head out of the grass at the last moment, man. There's no slamming on the brakes quick enough. You know, and you feel terrible. You go and have a nice bunny burial, and you get back to work, but it's okay. The boss doesn't yell at you. It happens. Life goes on. He's lenient. God is lenient. You like that connection, don't you? He's merciful. They taught me that you had to bring back the illustration at the beginning to the end, and that closes off the sermon. So you know I'm ending it. I could just say goodbye. But it's better if I say you have a lenient God. Let's pray. Father God, we do thank you and we praise you for your mercy, which never...